1959.
In the northern Ural mountains, there is a slope the local Mansi people never climbed. They had a name for it long before anyone else came here. Kholat Syakhl, Dead Mountain.
In late January 1959, 9 experienced hikers set out into this range in the dead of winter. They were students, athletes, engineers. All of them had done this before. None of them came home. What searchers found weeks later has never been fully explained. A tent sliced open from the inside. Bodies scattered across the mountain, some of them barefoot in 20 below cold. Injuries that one investigator compared to a car crash, with no vehicle and no visible cause. For 65 years, scientists, journalists, and the Russian government itself have tried to answer one question: what happened on Dead Mountain?
To understand what happened to this group, you have to understand who they were and why walking into a frozen wilderness was something to be proud of.
In the Soviet Union of the 1950s, wilderness trekking wasn't a hobby. It was a badge of honor. Students at technical universities organized expeditions rated by difficulty. And the hardest, the Category 3 treks, were reserved for the most experienced. This group was attempting one of those. Their leader was Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old, an engineering student known for meticulous planning. He'd built his own radio equipment. He didn't take unnecessary risks. With him, Zinaida Kolmogorova, Lyudmila Dubinina, Rustem Slobodin, Yuri Doroshenko, Yuri Krivonishenko, Alexander Kolevatov, Nikolai Thibault-Brignol, and one late addition, Semyon Zolotaryov, older than the rest, a war veteran who joined the trip almost at the last minute for reasons that are still debated today. There was a 10th member, Yuri Yudin. 10 days into the trip, illness forced him to turn back. It was the decision that saved his life, and the one he would spend the rest of his life trying to make peace with.
The plan was simple, on paper. Ski roughly 200 miles through the Urals to the summit of Mount Otorten and back.
Entirely in winter conditions, entirely self-sufficient. We know almost everything about their final days because they documented it themselves. Diaries, journals, rolls of film, developed only after they were gone.
The entries describe cold and wind and exhaustion.
But also jokes, songs, no sign, in their own words, that anything was wrong. This is the last photograph anyone would take of them alive. February the 1st, they are cutting into the slope of Kholat Syakhl to pitch their tent for the night. By the next morning, something had gone catastrophically wrong. The group was due to send a telegram home by February 12th, confirming they'd made it back. The date came and went. So did the next week. By February 20th, families and the university had had enough silence. A search was launched. Volunteers, students, and eventually the Soviet military and police. On February 26th, searchers found the tent, half collapsed under snow on the open slope. And here is where the story stops making easy sense. The tent had been cut open from the inside. Boots, coats, warm layers, all still inside. Whatever made these experienced hikers cut their way out of shelter in temperatures near 20 below zero, made them leave the very things that would keep them alive. Footprints in the snow led away from the tent, down the slope, toward a line of trees over a kilometer away. Some of the footprints were sock-footed, some were bare. At the tree line, searchers found the remains of a small fire and the first 2 bodies, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko, both dead. both stripped down to their underwear in the freezing night. Above them, the branches of a nearby cedar were broken, some as high as 16 feet off the ground. Someone had climbed high enough to see something, or to get away from something. 3 more bodies were found on the slope between the tree and the tent. Dyatlov, Kolmogorova, Slobodin, in postures that suggested they were trying to make it back to camp when they died. It would take until May, nearly 3 months and the spring thaw, for searchers to find the final 4. Buried under 13 feet of snow in a ravine, searchers found Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotaryov, Alexander Kolovatov, and Nikolai Thibault-Brignol. This is where the case turns from tragic to genuinely strange. Thibault-Brignol had suffered a severe skull fracture. Dubinina and Zolotaryov had catastrophic internal injuries, multiple broken ribs in Zolotaryov's case, and major chest trauma in Dubinina's. The kind of force one medical examiner would later compare to being struck by a car. And yet, there was no external bruising to match, no sign of a blow, no sign of a fall from any height nearby. Stranger still, several of the 4 were wearing clothing cut from their dead companions' garments, as if, in their final hours, the living had been stripping the dead to survive just a little longer. Later testing found faint traces of radioactivity on some of those clothes. When the Soviet inquest closed the case in May of 1959, it offered no real explanation, just a single phrase, translated from the original Russian record, a compelling unknown force. Then the file was sealed, and the questions began.